So what's up, everyone? It is your girl, Jail Beauty 87 here, aka Grace, and today we're gonna get into forgotten palettes. So y'all know how people really hype up a palette, act like it's the most wonderful thing in the world, and then like 40 minutes later they talk about some other palettes, the most wonderful thing in the world, and they forgot about it. So I'm like, I want to talk about some of the palettes that we've forgotten about that I feel like I saw truly hyped up. Like back in the day, it was just all about it. Everybody's talking about. Some of them are a little more recent as well, so I kind of just mixed them in together because I was like, I don't know which one to be which and which one to be talking about, but I figured I would highlight some of them and we can see how this goes. And then if y'all want another video, I can go ahead and do indie ones. But right now we just got high-end and luxury brands. One is I guess considered indie, but I figure since it's sold at Sephora, it's not like I guess true indie, like in the traditional sense of indie where you have to buy from that brand's website and that's it, or you can find it on you found out about them through influencers and on Instagram or something like that. Like those are the brands that are more indie. So like Menagerie or like Unearthly Cosmetics, like brands like that. Not like Artist Couture, which is the brand I'm talking about in this video. But anyway, let's get started. So y'all remember everybody named Mama. What was it, like 2020? Let's talk about this palette. Here it is 2022. I don't hear anybody talking about this palette. So it's like, what do we still think about this palette? Y'all know I still love it because I'm a cool tone queen, so I'm all about this palette. But I remember when everyone was talking about this palette, because I wasn't even gonna get it because we know I don't damn about neutrals. This is just some boring neutral palettes to me. But everybody was talking about how wonderful it was, and I was like, well, I do want to try his formula out because like the first one he came out with that was colorful that I liked. I ended up buying Kirsten's version of the palette instead because they both had, it's called Midnight Maven, I believe. Like Kirsten had made Celestial Storm that year, and y'all know we're a die-hard Dominique Cosmetics fan over here. So I was buying that, and I'm so glad I did because she said they weren't restocking it. And sure enough, I went to her website and it wasn't there anymore. So that's the one I love. I don't know if the pigments ran out or something, or she just decided like since it was so colorful and people really like neutrals that it wasn't worth, you know, reproducing again. So she got rid of it. I don't know, but I'm glad I have it. Anyway, back to this one. He had that palette, and since I bought Kirsten's, I didn't buy that one. So I ended up buying this one. Try the formula on it when it went on sale. And people were right, it was a really nice palette, but what happened if people stopped talking about it? Because people talked about how they didn't really like the Caliente palette. I personally didn't like it either. The Supreme Bronze is okay, but I don't know. Like when he does warm tones, I don't ever seem to like it as much as I like when he does cool tones or pastels, because his pastel palette is on sale at Sephora right now. And it's actually really nice. I think it's called Ethereal Bloom. I want to say that's what it's called, don't quote me, but it's on sale for like 21 bucks, and I think it's normally like 30 bucks or something. It's a really nice palette though if you like pastels, and it's pastels that deepen, so it's like one of those palettes with this deepen color stories I talk about, because when you put his pastels on, they deepen up, or I guess oxidize when you put it on your eyes, so even though it looks pastel light in the pan, it'll still work on someone my skin tone because it deepens down when you put it on. That can be a good and a bad thing though, because it's like if you want it to be lighter and then you put it on, it deepens up, you might not like that. But back to this palette. I'm just giving you an overview of the brand as I see standing holding this palette, since this is the one that started off for people raving about his brand. But it's like, you notice you don't hear anybody talking about this. I still like the palette. I still like it a lot. This is my favorite shade right here, Opulence, believe it or not, because you think it would be one of the green ones, but no, Opulence is the best. I guess it's because it has that glittery, flaky effect to it when you put it on the eyes. It kind of gives like that Patrick Ta vibe to it. I should have brought that palette because like people were talking about it for the longest time, and now it's just up and disappeared, but I forgot to bring it, so it's too late. I guess we can put it in part 2. Because technically Patrick Ta is an indie brand, but he's like a makeup owned brand, so I don't know if that would count. Anyway, moving on. I guess I can't put this one in there now too either. Then I'll put this palette aside, so I have to stay here for a while, since I just made up these rules now. Next I have Vizier. Now y'all remember everybody used to talk about these palettes when they first came out. They talked about the, what is it, neutral mattes palette the most. Of course y'all know I was going to buy the dark mattes. There wasn't going to be no neutral mattes up in here. Now I have to be careful with this because this piece that the eyeshadows are in keeps trying to pop out. Like I had to pop it in like just now, and I had to pop it in before, and y'all saw in the video once when I was showing it to you, it literally like popped out the pan completely. So I'm assuming that's why they changed the packaging on it, because it's like if you paying $80 for this, you don't want anything popping out anyway. Okay, it don't need to be popping out at all. So this popped out on me. But I remember when everybody used to talk about these when they first came out. Everybody was talking about these in this little pans right here, talking about how it was worth the $80 and all, and I was like, $80, and where's the shimmers? For $80, where are the shimmers? But these mattes blend out really nicely. Now, I still don't know if I'd pay 80 bucks for them. If you have BoxyCharm, I know you can get add-ons for like $12 and $15 and all that type of stuff that goes along with your membership. I got mine on sale for, I think, 50% off, and then they had a sale, so I got an extra 20% off, so I paid like 30 something dollars for this palette, which I think is totally worth it. I mean, I'd even pay like 50 for it, but like 80 to me is still a lot. So I don't know about 80, but like in the 50 and 60 range, I could definitely see myself paying for this. But you notice nobody talks about these palettes anymore. Like, I still love this palette. As you can see, mine is well loved. Like, you see swatches are like used in just about every shade. I think the only shades I haven't used is 1, 2, 3, 4. But as y'all can see, there's a darker purple in here, so I would obviously reach for that one over this one, which is why I haven't touched these two. Plus, I feel like that shade is a little too light for me. And then I have these two I haven't used, but again, we know I don't like warm tones, so that explains why mine looks the way it does. But as you can see it has been used. Look at these shades right here. It has been used, and I absolutely love it. So I haven't forgotten about this palette. I still like it. I don't use it as much because I have to always try out new things. But if I was realistically just a regular person who could use their makeup whenever they wanted, I would still be reaching for that palette because I love it, and it goes great with single shadows. So it's like you can use that and then pull out your single shadows like the one I have on my lid now and bang you out a nice eye look. Now this is a newer one from them, but I feel like it got dethroned because of the Norvina palette. This is the Violet palette because people were talking about this a lot, and then Menagerie's palette came out and the Flight Club, and I was like, yes. And then like Norvina's palette came out at the end of 2021, and I was like, yes. So it's like all these other purple palettes came out, and I feel like this one just got left behind. I feel like you don't hear anybody talking about it anymore. Like, people have it, but they don't talk about it and they don't really review it. But again, you have to think about it. We have to constantly keep you updated on what's new coming out. So although some of us may still love it, including myself, it's like you don't always get a chance to use it. So it's still gorgeous. It's still a great palette, but it's just been forgotten about. So I figured I'd talk about some of the ones I feel like are forgotten, and you know, maybe wake some people up and remind them. Maybe you pull it out and play with it instead of trying to buy the latest purple palette that came out, like that Amethyst one I just reviewed. Because I'm telling y'all, it's not worth it. Spoiler alert on that part of the video. It is not worth it. Next one I have is the Huda Beauty New Nudes. I remember when this first came out, everybody was talking about how nice it was and how unique it was. Because, you know, nudes, they were expecting brown nudes. And then Huda was like, oh no. She was coming for people like me who like, you know, mauve tone nudes. So I was like all about it, like yes. And I remember, if y'all remember, I was talking so much crap about how she was coming up with this nude palette, how they wanted. But once I found out it wasn't like traditional nudes, I was all about it then. Like during the sale, I went ahead and bought this palette. I was like, yes, give it to me, yes. So I ended up buying it, and I do not like the pressed glitters. I think I used this one time. I haven't used that one at all. I like the marble shades in here. I'm thinking I should get a new one, so next time it goes on sale I might get a new one, because this one is awfully old. I used this shade one time and it was horrible. I think I used it because I had to do a battle of with the one that came out from, what's that brand, Alter Ego, to compare it. I didn't like the form of theirs. I don't know what it is about Alter Ego. I don't like them anymore. But yeah, to me this is another palette that is just forgotten about and slept on, because I remember everybody's talking about this. This was in people's favorite videos the year it came out and everything. I think it was in mine included too, because this is a really nice palette. I still like this palette and I would still recommend it, even though there are other palettes that came out that are similar to it. Like I feel like the Mercury retrograde, the retro palette from Natasha Denona is really similar to that, and it just has deeper mercury shades and has cream palette form. You don't have to worry about the horrible concealer shade or the glitters, so that'd be good. Speaking of Natasha Denona, let's get into her. I meant to do another Vizier palette, but it was sitting underneath these Natasha ones, so you can see it later. Sunrise palette. When this first came out, everybody I think was just first of all excited that the price it went down, because these are only $65, and the other one I'm going to show you after this is one of the $129. So people were so excited about this, and this is when warm tones I think were still somewhat popular before we got into the cool tone place we are now, which I'm here for and living and loving. I was never a warm tone person to begin with, so I mean I bought this just because it was the very first one that she had that was this size, and of course being the Natasha Denona connoisseur and a luxury makeup connoisseur, I had to buy it and try it out. So I got it for those purposes, but I was never really in love with this palette. It performed nice. It was the quality of the bigger ones in smaller form, just like I was hoping and everyone was hoping it would be. But I just don't really care about this palette. Like, it was in people's favorites. I don't remember if it was my favorites or not. Don't quote me. If it was, it would have been for like the berry tones in here, not necessarily the rest of the warmth that's going on in the palette. But you know, it's a good palette. It's a decent palette, and if you like warm tones, I think you would like it. But I just, you know, I was just trying it because, you know, I was like, she makes $65 ones instead of $129. I'm here for it. And if you haven't noticed, she's been doing a lot of 65 ones. So I don't know if she's making more money off those than she did off the $129 ones, and that's why she has slowed down on them. Because y'all notice we only got like $129 one in 2021. It was Circle Local. we didn't get anything else from her besides the small ones and then $25 ones. So I don't know if she's trying to like stick to that right now because of the way the economy is with COVID and everything, to make sure that she still secures the bag or what. But mother was like, she don't care. She's coming out with these $25 ones and you will buy them, or she gonna put them on sale. But I mean, she already a billionaire, so I guess that's why she's not concerned. I don't know. Next, we have the Natasha Denona Gold palette. Now y'all know everybody's talking about this and everybody's sad that they missed out on it and you couldn't get it anymore because you can't get it anymore. I was blessed enough to keep mine, so I have my original one. I didn't get a backup. I didn't think it was that deep. I mean, like, it's a nice color story, but it's still a whole bunch of neutrals and then like a couple of teal shades, and it's like, I don't need another $129 palette with a whole bunch of neutral shades and like this being the only colorful part in the palette. Because to me, this little section here is the only true colorful part of the palette, and the rest is just a whole bunch of brown. So it's like, I don't need to pay $129 again for this. Now the formula on this is amazing and the palette is really nice, don't get me wrong, but because I'm not somebody who uses a whole lot of neutrals, I wouldn't go buy a separate one just because she was getting rid of it. I was like, oh, we'll be using people who got it. But I would say it was worth getting if you didn't have it and you wanted to try it, because it's really nice. It just wasn't nice enough for me to get another one. I know Morgan Turner said she bought a new one because hers is so gross and disgusting, but again, we know she wears lots of neutral tones, and when she does do color, it has a tendency just to be like purple or pink. So I'm up here walking around with green, blue, purple, pink, all types of colors. So, you know, it wasn't essential for me to have another one of those. And for somebody who doesn't really like neutral palettes, I actually have quite a few in my collection once I counted them up, but it was because I wanted to try different formulas from different brands, and sometimes the color story was like not traditional neutral, and that's why I was able to go ahead and buy it. But I ain't a neutral person, so it was fine with me. Next we have Vizier. Again, because I meant to put this one at the top, but it's so much bigger than the other two I showed you. That's why it was so difficult to get along with. But this is the Vizier Grand Pro palette. I feel like when the first ones came out, everybody made a huge deal about them. Everybody's talking about them a lot. Everybody's like, oh my goodness, yes. And then it's like, now you don't hear about anybody talking about them at all. My favorite one personally is 3, but y'all know 3 is the most colorful of them all, which is why it was attractive to me. The first one looked really boring and I wasn't part of it. They just re-released another one that was just like the first one, but it's supposed to be like bigger or something like that. I don't know. I heard Morgan Turner talking about it. I don't own the original big one or the new big one just because, you know, it was just really boring. But I do have 2 and 3, so this is 2. I got 2 because it has a lot of their shimmers in it. And I do like their shimmer formula sometimes, and I got it at a great deal, so I was like, I can't resist at this deal. So this is what the second one looks like. I bought the third one before I bought the second one for obvious reasons. Like I said, you all have seen me use the third one. It's really colorful. It's my cup of tea, but I feel like people talked about these quite a bit, and it's like now you don't hear anybody talking about them at all. Like I remember Kathleen Lights talking about the very first one and loving it, and I think she talked about the second one too, but it's like I don't feel like I really hear anybody talking about them anymore. And I'm like, does that mean they don't think they're good anymore, or is it just they've moved on to other things in their collection? Because sometimes I feel like we've just moved on to other things. But that one is like the newest Vizier Grand Pro in my collection, and I haven't even reached for it that much just because I'm like, I don't know, like the shimmer formula is okay, it's just not, I don't know, it's something missing for me that's not doing. Now we all remember this Mothership palette. I mean, people talked about the Mothership 5 forever. Do you hear me? Forever people talked about this palette. What is the name of this one again? Mothership 5. I always forget, it's Bronze Seduction, because she has a small one that's in Bronze Temptation, then she has a big one that's Bronze Seduction, so I always forget which one is which. But the big one is Bronze Seduction and the small one is Bronze Temptation. Anyway, this is what it looks like on the inside. Everybody was in love with this palette, and I mean, I'll admit it's a very pretty warm tone palette. Like I live for this plum shade right here to mix with the red tone right there, and then put one of these cool duochrome shimmers in my inner corner, and on top of the red sometimes when I want a little extra oomph, and it gives me life. So I would definitely say out of warm tone palettes, this is probably one of my all-time favorite warm tone palettes. And let me know, I just said I don't care about a warm tone, but you know, but Mother did it with this warm tone, so I'm like, okay, I see why everybody loved it. I feel like the hype has died down for it finally, and people have moved on to other things, but I feel like it is one of my favorite warm tones and one of my favorite Pat McGrath Mothership palettes, so I'm happy to have it in my collection, even though I don't reach for it that often, because like we just said, I'm not really a warm tone girl. I only got 3 palettes left, y'all, I swear. So, let's talk about Auntie Jackie's palette, because y'all know it was going to be in here. People were raving about this palette. Everybody talked about how wonderful it was. You had a few haters talking about how the colors didn't work for them, but it's like, you gotta think how many palettes that Jackie uses. It didn't work for her, that she makes work. Because I had heard plenty of other Caucasian creators talking about how they just use the light hand with it. It's like, yeah, you can use the light hand with it and it'll work just fine. So I feel like that was a little bit of shade that people were throwing, but you know, whatever. This is what the inside of it looks like. As y'all know, mine is filthy, disgusting, and dirty because we love Auntie Jackie. We love Auntie Jackie's palette. So of course, I'll also be out here in these streets using it a lot. Like, this is easily one of my most used palettes. If you all saw that video, I'm pretty sure this palette was in there because I absolutely love this palette. It is dirty, gross, and disgusting. And I love to use it alongside the Mega Mothership palettes that she came out with. The first one she came out with, y'all saw I did a couple videos combining this together with that one, and then I think I did a couple Instagram posts too because I really love using this in conjunction with that. I'm pretty sure I've put this in my favorite palette combination videos too, showing you all to use this palette with that palette. This palette is stunning. I still didn't think it got enough praise when it was out, but whenever I watch people's collection videos and declutter videos, everybody always says they're keeping this. I think I've seen like 2 people get rid of it, and I thought they were high on drugs and that they needed Jesus, because you do not get rid of Auntie Jackie's palette. Like, this palette is amazing. If you're a brown girl, I feel like this is a classic palette that you should have in your collection, because you got your neutrals right there. If you like purples and pinks like I do, you have that, and you have a nice little romantic section here for when you want to do like Valentine's Day look. So Jackie got you covered. You can do your cute little Valentine's Day look with this little part. You can do a nice little purple eye with this part, and then when you do your everyday neutral eye, you can do this part right here. So it's like Auntie Jackie had us covered. The girls appreciate it. I thank you, Auntie Jackie. Thank you so much. Last brand I have to talk about is Melt. So I have 2 palettes here that I feel like are really popular and really hard to get your hands on. Well, at first it was, and it was a whole hot mess with this one, the Smoke Session. Like, I remember when this first came out, on Black Friday, I ended up not being able to catch it before it sold out. So I had to buy mine on 4/20 of the year. The next year, but I was happy I didn't, because when I saw the disaster, the stuff foaming out of people's pans and all that, mine has never done that. As you can see, I bought mine on 4/20 and nothing is popping out of any pans. None of these shimmers is popping out and exploding or anything like that. So I guess it was a good thing that I did wait, because I probably would have been turned off from the brand, and y'all know Melt is one of my favorite brands to buy from. So I'd have truly been turned off if like stuff was popping out of the pans. So I ended up going ahead and just getting this on 4/20 and having no issues with it whatsoever. It's still being one of my all-time favorite Melt palettes to this day. I know people like Gemini and stuff like that, but no. Smoke Specialist, and this other one we about to talk about, Morte, this most coveted palette ever. DIY Pansy didn't get her hands on it, and she's still sad about it. I'm like, girl, I mean, I was DMing Melt about the password to this palette. It was that serious, because I had signed up for the email and everything. They still didn't email me the password. So I'm like, girl, where's my email? Where's my passwords about this palette? Where is it? And they were so nice and gracious, and they sent me the password so I could buy it, because the pre-order went out on my birthday. And I was like, I'm getting both of them. I mean, I'm getting this one. I didn't care about the other one. I ended up getting it for 30 bucks at Sephora when it went on sale, but I had to have this palette. Look, this color story not me. This blue, this green, and this was Christmas time and had the nice little red section for me to use, and then year round I could use these colors over here. So it's like, yes, this palette is so me. Like, to me, this is one of the most coveted palettes for Melt of all time. People still talk about this palette and how they regret not buying it. I want to do a video about that though, like palettes people regret not buying. Because I know there are some, including myself, like the Denona Myris one I waited on at Sephora and then they never came back. That's the regret of mine. I can't say the Star Wars palettes by Pat McGrath anymore because she brought them back out in the holiday palette. But like, there are palettes that, you know, I regret not buying like everyone else. They're just far and few because I usually just like cut the coins and, you know, get it done. But this is definitely a coveted palette from them, but I feel like people don't really talk about it that much anymore. I guess it's because it makes them sad if they don't have it, and then other creators don't want to make like their audience mad if they didn't get a chance to get their hand on it. Because I would still use this palette to this day, but it's like I don't want to use it, and y'all be like, what's on your eyes? And then I say Morte, and then I get side-eyed because you didn't get Morte. So a lot of times some stuff we just don't use just because we don't want you feeling some type of way if you didn't get your hands on it, or if you're new to the beauty community and you find out about it late. Like, why should I make you feel bad when we don't have to? Although I did give y'all alternatives to the Morte and the Vita palette with the 5 alternatives to limited edition palettes. I'm thinking about doing a part 2 though, because I feel like I forgot to include this and the Vita one in there with the Wilderness palette. So I'll probably do a part 2, but I need to find some other ones to go with it. Anyway, those are all the palettes I had to talk about. I was gonna talk about the Beauty Juice collection, but I mean, I guess we can. I have the recently deceased one here. I don't have the waiting room one here. I left that one at home because I knew this one was already here to do a main chick side chick video with, so I didn't worry about it too much. But this is what mine looks like. On the inside, it comes with the cool little packaging. Absolutely love it. This is what it looks like. I mean, I know Melt does a lot of similar color stories. Like, to me, this is similar to some other stuff that they have, and then they have some other stuff similar to some other stuff. So they do a lot of similar stuff, but you know, this is what she looks like. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you all are diamonds. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be blessed, girl. Bye.